time. So
yeah. Hey, hello everybody. I'm
Spoiled.
Reverend, and we are going to be beginning our Wednesday evening gathering the spiritual way tonight. Just opening up the room early for people to find their way in. We have our first friend, Lizzie Adams, who says, I adore and have so much respect for Shari Sorbo. Good choice. I'm glad you're here, Lizzie. I agree with you. So it's going to be a really fantastic evening, and we've got a lot to learn. So happy to be here. I'm going to pull you out at this point, Shari, so that I can pop you in as our special guest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I see people are beginning to come in. Hello, hello. Please jump into the stream and say hi. You know, I love that. And I take it personally if you don't say hi. Actually, I don't, but if a little guilt will get you to play, I'm happy to do it. Hi, Francine. Good to see you here tonight. We have such a wonderful evening prepared for you. So thanks for popping in. Hi, Jean. Good to see you. Wendy. So glad you're here, Wendy. I think you're in my small group over the summer, aren't you, Wendy? Am I correct on that? I think so. Anyway, more people. I see you're popping in. Would love for you to say hi and just check in. We've got a few minutes before we begin our evening together. And it's going to be a great one. It really is. Hi, Melanie. You're playing. That's awesome. Oh, good one. Yay. Oh, that's awesome. It's going to be a great summer group. Hi, Alex. Good to see you. Arlene. Nice to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Victoria. Victoria says, I love you both and so looking forward to hearing Rev Shari speak. Yes, me too. Love Uni Naples. Royce, Oliver, my friend. Good to have you here. Happy to have you here. I'm thinking because I saw the picture you posted on Facebook, and it's such a charming picture of you, my friend. Really nice. Who else is here today saying hello? I do want to remind you we have a really special conversation today. And if you want to participate in the conversation, actually pop into the Zoom room with us and share and talk, and especially talk with our special guest, Shari, because she really has a really cutting edge idea that she's bringing to us tonight. All you have to do is email Patrick at unitynaples.org, and he will send you a special link that gets you into the rooms with us. So go do your hair, look in the mirror, get yourself pretty or not pretty. I actually don't care. I think you're beautiful either way, but do whatever you have to do, because we would love to have you participate and ask your questions and share your thoughts. So again, if you want to do that, just email now just to have it. You don't even need to use it, but just email Patrick at unitynaples.org and say, please send me the link. And you'll have the link just in case you decide you want to pop in. And then if you don't want to pop in, doesn't matter. So that'd be a great thing to do too. Hi, Gary. Happy to have you here. Pleasure. People are rolling in. So awesome. Please say hi. We still have a couple more minutes before we begin. How are you doing? I'd love to hear how people are holding up. I am losing my voice. It's got this strain in it. I'm fine, but I've been talking so much. So from after this show until tomorrow night when I teach, I am not talking. That's my goal. Bradley Luke Davis, my little brother. You know, I love you more than life itself. I'm so glad you're here. Bradley goes way back. He really is my little brother. He lived with me and Patrick in Chicago, and he means the world to me. So I'm glad you're here, friend. And Jesse Hughes is my other adopted little brother. I adopt young brothers. I don't have any young brothers, but I adopt them. So, and Scott Hickson, you are too. Everyone's popping in. Good to have you guys here. Hi, Jody. Pleasure to have you here today. Oh, thanks, Bradley. Really glad you're here. I hope you're well. I hope you're taking care of yourself. We've got about another minute and we're going to start. Oh, Scott Hickson says hi, Bradley. Some Chicago peeps popping in tonight. Kurt, hi, my friend. Really glad that you're here. Yes, Nancy, my big sister. Glad you are here. And oh gosh, now I got I am losing my voice. I know, Amy. I just said that like it's really not in good shape, but I'm going to go on vocal rest after this and until I teach tomorrow night. But glad you're here. Really happy to see everybody. It is 8 o'clock and it's time to begin. We'll just let the people keep rolling in. Good evening, everybody. I am Reverend Mark Anthony Lord, and welcome to The Spiritual Way. The Spiritual Way is our Wednesday night gathering. It's our virtual, obviously, gathering. It's in our time, and it's our time to just lay life down so we can reboot, reconnect, remember who we are, and just rest together for a while in the spirit and allow inspiration and fellowship in being together to fuel us and get us centered and remembering our oneness with God. That's what we're here for. Have a wonderful guest tonight. That's going to be a new piece, by the way, everybody. As we move into the next month, we're going to be having special guests joining us once or twice a month because our dedication is to make Wednesday nights absolutely amazing for you. And you guys get me every Sunday. You get me in our classes. It's just like Mark Lord overload. And there's so many amazing people I know that I want to bring to you so that you can learn from them and hear different points of view. And we are kicking off that intention tonight with just a fantastic person, Reverend Shari, who is really going to bring us a fresh point of view on she's calling the intersection of psychology and spirituality and how they can both work together and how separately there's some missing pieces in there. So it's going to be a fantastic conversation. Again, before we meditate and pray in, please do me a favor and email Patrick at unitynaples.org and say, hey, give me the link. Because you may want to pop in yourself and talk to Reverend Shari. Ask her a question. She's going to share some really cool ideas, and we want you to be a part of it. So all you need to do is email Patrick, ask him for the link. You don't even have to use it. Just have it ready to go in case you go, dang, I'm going to pop in. I got something to say. I got a question to ask. Grab that link now. All right, my friends. Hi, Lynn. Glad you're here. Please join me, Lucas, glad you're here, buddy, and Melinda. And Dina Ham. All right, I'm going to stop there. Welcome, everybody. Let's do our spiritual practice, shall we? Join me in closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Taking a nice, slow, deep breath. Turning your hands upward so that you demonstrate your willingness to receive. Lift up your chin, opening up your chest, opening up your heart, and imagine your heart flowering open and releasing this wonderful, gentle vibration of self-love, acceptance, and forgiveness. And finally, if you haven't done so, close your eyes and lift your inner eye up to the center of your forehead, the third eye, which is the portal for intuition, wisdom, connection. Breathe in and even imagine the breath pulling through the forehead, opening up that brow chakra. And as you exhale, let those shoulders relax. Let the whole body feel heavy. Allow the jaw to drop down and back in its relaxed position. Place your attention upon the tongue and allow that to become heavy in the mouth, relaxing down. As you exhale, imagine yourself releasing the day. All that has come before this moment is over. So we send it down the river. We let it go. And on your next exhale, release what is to come. Let go of this evening, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next lifetime. Let it go. With the past released and the future released, we sit here together in the present moment. And this is where we remember God is our source, the one life, the one power, and the only place to know and experience and access this power is here, now. So within yourself or out loud, affirm, I am here now. I am available to the guidance, to the love, to the wisdom, and the teaching that is here for me tonight. I am available. And just keep connected to your breath as we sit in the silence together for a couple more minutes, allowing ourselves to relax more and more, going deeper and deeper into the spirit. If your mind has wandered, release the thought, I am here now. I place my hands on my heart as I speak this blessing upon our evening, knowing that God is the wonderful, loving energy that has brought us together tonight. God is the wholeness and the vitality and the eternal life that we are. And from my place of oneness, I speak a blessing over this evening and a special blessing over our guest, Reverend Shari Sorbo, knowing that she is here by divine appointment and that the message that is for us tonight flows perfectly through her effortlessly. The God that brought her here is the God who speaks through her tonight. And I know for all of us that we are fully present, mind, body, and spirit, here now to receive, to really allow ourselves to have a transformation, a new thought, a new way of viewing ourselves, God, our lives. We're so blessed to be together. Of course, the love that we share and the work that we do tonight extends out as our blessing and our gift to the world. to all of humanity, as we know together a humanity that is healed, forever free from this virus, and not only forever freed, but rising up into a brand new expression of being, a world where generous sharing, celebration of creativity is the way, a world where we know that where one is without, we all are without, a brand new world. It begins with us. It begins with us seeing it and saying yes to it. So that too is a part of our intention together. And I trust God implicitly in the fulfillment of that vision. We are blessed, we are guided, and so it is. Amen. All right. Hi, Charlene. Another love call for Shari, Reverend Shari. It's so fun. This is great. So again, welcome to the Spiritual Way tonight. We are starting something new, which is to bring guests to you with new ideas, fresh perspectives, new ways to view things, because our dedication is to serve you and to help you spiritually awaken and have the tools, the inspiration, and all that you need to do that. And tonight is a very, very special time for us. So our special guest is Reverend Shari Sorbo. And I know her back from our Agape days. We both spent years at Agape International Spiritual Center in LA under Michael Bernard Beckwith. And we both consider ourselves to be very, very blessed for that, of course. And she has a unique role that she played there, which is beautiful. She started the deaf ministry there when she was there, which is really cool. She also started studying in 2007 with Brené Brown, which I know many of you have a lot of love and respect for, because she came on to the playing field over the past decade or more. I don't know the exact time, but over the past decade, she has just soared into enormous recognition for the gifts that she's bringing. So Reverend Shari Sorbo is a practitioner, spiritual practitioner, psychotherapist, and minister. And her life's passion is to support people who have been searching for their own true joy and happiness by inspiring them to discover and live their purpose. She is a certified facilitator of Dr. Brené Brown's The Daring Way curriculum, and Paul Farini, love him too, Paul Farini's Real Happiness curriculum, NLP, hypnotherapy, just a licensed practitioner, Center for Spiritual Living for 20 years. As I said, Agape. It's just a wonderful resume. She's clearly a seeker and a student, but I declare she's no longer the student. She is the expert bringing the information to us. So please join me in welcoming Reverend Shari Sorbo to the conversation. Hey, Rev Shari.
Hey.
How are
Hi,
you?
everyone. Hi. That was quite an introduction.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. I didn't share, you and I have been over the past months in conversation of your work, and I want to tell everybody, like, when I would just talk with her, and at the point where Shari would get like passionate about the conversation she's bringing us tonight, and it would just start rolling out of her, and I'd be like writing notes down. Because you really have put in your 10,000 hours, if you will, into this conversation. So its time has come in a new way. So I'm really, really happy to have you here. And I'll begin with stating there's a common ground between spirituality and psychology. You're calling it the intersection, and
Yes.
sometimes it gets overlooked, but this gap in the intersection is your passion. So please share with us what that is about for you, how it came to you, and your story around that.
Sure. I love our dialogues because we get so excited about it, because we start to see visions, and that's what's been really helpful for me in seeing this. Because before, I've always said there's a bridge between psychology and spirituality. And really what's come, especially in the middle of this paradigm that we're going through now, the paradigm is shifting. And in that shift, there's an intersection. And I'm sure everybody has heard that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Well, I would like to shift it a bit and say we're spiritual beings having an incarnation, a human incarnation.
Mm.
And in that's the intersection where, excuse me, because I use sign language, where we talk about God in this way, but in this way, the horizontal is the earth plane. And so right in the middle of that is our heart and our heart's desire.
Mm.
And so we can't neglect the body experience. And there's been some of that that's happened in the past. And so my passion is to bring all of it, spirit, mind, and body, into one relationship. And so that's where I feel like psychology and the work with Renee and treatment all come together.
Yeah.
And so I'll talk later about the 3 legs of the stool, but that's where I get so excited.
Yeah.
I don't think you can have one without the other.
Right. And that is what
in this world.
Yeah, you're bringing a more holistic conversation around this. Now, you said in the past around the avoidance of feelings or whatever, but I would say that that's in the present. And there is something, I was raised in New Thought, and I was, in Science of Mind like you, and Unity. I was Unity since I was 14, and then switched to Science of Mind in my 30s at Agape. And I will tell you, I took to the teaching. It was profound, but I also hid in the teaching. I didn't know I was hiding. I didn't know it, but the part of me that didn't want to feel can really hang out in the New Thought conversation. At least that was my experience.
Right. That's where the idea of spiritual bypassing came. Because if you look at the stages of spiritual growth, the first stage is what they call victim consciousness. I call vibrational consciousness. Because if it's called victim, who wants to look at themselves that way? But this is the first stage where all the earthy and juicy things can come together. And for me, I feel like the first 2 stages are where Brené's work is. Because we begin to see that it's not happening to me. It's the story I'm telling myself. And so just in that sentence alone, in that stage, we can go into the story I'm telling myself. And doing that, we're kind of moving our concept of mind into our body. Because like in somatic therapy, it's like a massage of the brain. So the issues are in our tissues. And I'm not talking about Kleenex tissue. I'm talking about tissues, cellular tissues. And so that's why the shadow work, the inner child work, all of that comes from that inner section of our prayer work, our meditation. And then, we talk about how, it's happening to me. I like to think of it more like, okay, this is my martyr part of me rather than my victim part of me. And then I get curious about it. And I think curiosity takes us into the depths of our tissues.
Yeah.
I like to call it the nooks and crannies of the shadow part.
Yeah.
And so instead of us saying, oh, there's this feeling and it's anger. How do we know? We haven't talked to the feeling. We haven't talked to the feeling to let the feeling tell us what it is. So that's why I get so excited in the body work in that way.
Yeah. So
we don't know where it's landed. We've already decided with our mind. And so we pick this stuff up and, we get all this information. And it's informational, but it's not transformational.
What do you mean? What is informational?
It's like what you were talking about, the prayer work, and we do our prayer work, and what you were talking about with, we can hide in it. We can hide in it because we already have it. We can parrot it. We know it. We know all that. God is good. We are one. We know that part. but the oneness is included in the body work,
Got it.
in
So
the feeling and emotional work.
yeah. So let me say this. So what you're saying is we get the information, we get the spiritual concepts, we, okay, that God is one, or we learn the language
Yes.
of spiritual, which is a good first step, but that's informational, and transformational is when we embody it, when we allow it to go deeper. So I'm going to back up a step though, because I do want to ask you to, just so everyone's clear, because we moved quickly over this, would you please explain spiritual bypass in your words and what it means to you as simply as possible?
Okay. I was in my second year of ministry, school of ministry, and everybody was I'm kind of separating it, but everybody was going through, we were all going through our work, and something happened in ministry, and I could not bypass it. I could not pray it away. I could not say the words to make it go away. And what I did at that time was I left ministry and went into psychology.
Ah.
Okay. So that's where I felt like my birth came from, my curiosity came from. And so I had picked up a book by Robert Masters that was called Spiritual Bypassing. And it was really tagged by John Wellwood. But Robert wrote this book on spiritual bypassing, and I was reading these chapters, and it's like, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. Oh my gosh. I have to study with this man. So I spent 4 years studying with him and doing all this somatic work. And I could see, like what you were talking about, I could say it, I could say the phrase, but something inside of me did not feel authentic.
Yeah.
I was kind of like lying to myself. And I knew that if I finished ministry at that time, I could do it. I could fake it till I make it, but it was too painful for me. I had to go into the tissues, as I said before. I had to go into those issues in my tissues.
So in your opinion, because I don't even know totally this answer, but what is that part of us that just is it afraid of feeling? Is it the survival brain that gets activated faster than we can even notice?
Yes. This is where I differentiate between the science of mind and the work, in that our feeling happens first, not our thought. We get triggered, and everyone's heard the phrase, I may have triggered you, but I didn't install the button.
Yeah.
We need to find out what installed the button. And so we react, and then our thought goes, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? And we don't like the feeling because we think we know what it is. And we really don't. So if we were curious about we jump in because we're in survival mode as soon as we're triggered.
Yeah. And then it's running high.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it runs high. And so instead of allowing that, it's giving it permission to do what it does. And we call it monkey mind, or, it does that. And yet we can still be curious about what that feeling is without us telling the feeling what it is.
Yeah.
It's very minute because it happens so quickly. But we know when we've been triggered. It could be a look, it could be just a sigh. It depends, on our own. That's why it's our human carnation to discover what these are without making them bad and wrong.
Yeah.
They're all like juicy to find out. Because in that there's freedom. Because that's the transformational part. Because we get it, I thought it was about my mom, or I thought it was about this, or I thought, and what it was just it was a feeling that got there to protect us. And then that's the embracing, bodily, physically, emotionally, spiritually. That's the whole embrace. That's the embrace of the whole spirit. the whole incarnation.
So as you were on your journey of, oh, I've been bypassing a whole part of me, neck down, basically, is what I'm guessing. As many of us, don't feel shut off. As
Right here.
as you started to open and explore that, did you have the experiences of fear and the body contracting and reacting and saying, no, don't go there? Or was it an open door for you?
Well, the body doesn't say that, the mind says that.
Ah, okay.
So there's that control. It's like a steel trap. It's like, we're not going to feel. We have different people have different ways of feeling and different triggers. Sometimes people go off really quickly. Other people go numb. And so for me, it was numbness, and I started to thaw out. That was the best way that I could say it. I started to thaw out. And other people are exquisitely tender, just very, very tender. So they only go into a certain part, and that's safe enough for right now. And that's the part of giving myself permission. I give myself permission to only go this far this time.
Yeah.
And that's loving ourselves. That's like loving our whole self and not negating any of the feelings that we have.
Yeah.
That's the power of the connection.
I think we're all such beginners at this because I was raised in a family that was like not allowed to have feelings, or we could have some feelings to a point. We couldn't get happy because that made mom mad. The anger is that interesting? If you got too happy, we were in trouble. But the anger was so scary because it got really big. As little kids, we're so small.
Right.
And the big people would get consumed by it and cupboards would slam. And I was never physically hurt, but still the anger in the air was scary.
Right. Right.
So I guess my point is like what you're talking about, we have no conditioning for in our culture. Is that fair to say? Or minimal?
It's normal. I would say that, with the body work, with the somatic therapy, with the work of Brene, with all the work that's for me is coming together.
Yeah.
There's a safety valve in it, but I have to create that safe space inside of me. So if a door slams and I'm in reaction to that door, it's like, oh, okay, I hear you. That's where you're talking about the inner child work. Okay, I hear you. And it's like, I'm here now. I'm the adult.
Yeah.
I won't do that to you. So there's all these different tools in the toolbox that we can put in there. So that, I say our child isn't running amok anymore, but they're still there and they have a right to have a voice. And that's the other part. So we can call them parts of ourselves. We can call them inner child. We can call them emotions, but they have a right to be here because that's what we incarnated for, is to experience it all. And I'm not talking about abuse and stuff. I'm talking about the part that we put inside to protect us.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a question I want to interject because Deb asks, is it ego? I'm not sure what she's referring to, but I'm just going to read that. Is it ego? What does that?
Well, I would say that, I think ego gets a bad rap. We can't be on this planet.
I knew you were going to go there. Go.
We can't be on this planet without our ego. We can't drive our car. We can't eat. We can't sleep. We can't play without an ego. And I just think that, it was, once again, it was put there as a protective device. And it's been in the driver's seat. And so now we're asking it to step aside so that we can go in a whole body connection. And we'll drive. We're not going to let go of you, but we're going to teach you a little bit.
Right.
So that, for me, that's the wholeheartedness, and that's the interconnection that we have. The possibilities are endless. And there's so much joy underneath what we call shame or fear or anger. There's so much underneath that hasn't had an opportunity to open up and experience itself.
Yeah.
Because I think it's Marianne Williamson that said, we're afraid of our own joy.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we weren't allowed to feel it,
Yeah.
But now it can run through us like a roadmap. It can it can take us in so many places.
Yeah.
And it all ends up the same place. It's love.
Yeah.
And that's how we love ourselves.
Let me ask you, I want to know how your experience of God, if you can even quantify this or speak to it. So how did your experience of God shift or expand as you allowed yourself to go into this inner body exploration and the inclusion of your feelings? Did you have a new experience of God?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I still had the old, when I was a kid and I went to church, I think I was like 10 years old. I heard, "This is not my church. Go find my church." and I didn't have a really bad experience of God, except I wanted to be taken out of my family. And at that point, he didn't do it. But I feel like this is church. Our human incarnation is the church. And we are that spiritual entity. We're the spirit of the living God. Our breath is God. So my whole being in God changed. I wasn't appealing outward. I wasn't, and it's kind of like learning not to live in duality.
Yeah.
It's learning that fear is welcomed as well as happiness. And it takes courage to learn that. And we can't have courage without the vulnerability that it starts, being vulnerable to jump in and dive in and let whatever we think fear is, to let fear tell us what it is. Where are you? Where are you located? What does that word mean to you? And usually an emotion will say, "That's not what I'm experiencing." That's what you're experiencing, but that's not what I'm experiencing.
So what I'm getting
It could
from
be
you,
happiness,
yeah. So what I'm getting from you is that when something's triggered, I want to repeat this because I don't remember you saying this to me, and I really like it. When something's triggered, talk to it. What is here? Where, like you're saying, where are you? What's going? Don't make up, "Oh, the door slammed and therefore it equals this."
Exactly.
Instead, talk to yourself, talk to the feeling, talk to that part.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
build a relationship.
Right. And if I feel like in the first stage of the spiritual growth where, we talk about it's happening to me. So if I feel like something's happening to me, like somebody's doing something to me or whatever, then I begin with the story I'm telling myself is they are this, they are that, they are this. And then I start to examine where else has this been happening in me, in my life? And what does it make me feel like? It always comes back to, what does it make me feel like? I feel abandoned. So where is that story? So abandonment is the thinking mind that has labeled it. So where is it in here? It's usually sadness or grief. And so, it's not like it's doing it to me. It comes to the idea of, okay, I'm awash in this feeling. Now I've called it abandonment. Now I'm curious to see where it's landed in me and what it has to say to me.
Yeah.
And it could just be, and the thing about it is, the body doesn't give you sentences like, "Oh, I was like that. You're like that because of this, this, this." The body goes, "I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling," there's just 2 or 3 words. And then it gets to express itself. Don't we always want to express our really, really true self? And it comes through our tissues, our shadow work, our emotions and our feelings.
So what would be the next step that you would take if you asked it and you heard from the feeling, "I feel sad"? What would you do next?
I would feel it.
What does that mean?
I would let it wash over me.
Okay.
And usually what happens after that is so much, that's where the transformation comes from. Yeah. That's where I'm saying that, information versus transformation. That's where the awe comes. Because we have been cut off from our bodies for so long, and they are so awe-inspiring to be in them,
Yeah.
right down to the toenails. It can be awe-inspiring. Something could be happening in the ankle or something. It could be lodged there from an injury, and there's sadness there. So it takes you back into it, and there's, for me, the experience is, it really is. It's like, oh, or oh, ah, and then there's this feeling of pure joy and laughter.
So when you say you let it wash over you, I imagine you kind of just breathe, you keep your body breathing, you welcome it, and you perhaps cry or yell or whatever.
Whatever the feeling needs to be done. Maybe beat on pillows, maybe, nothing that harms me, but, because for me, underneath the anger is power.
Yes.
Yes. So, but we don't allow it to escape. We don't allow it to say what it's angry about. And it always surprises me what comes up, because it's never what I think it is.
That's the revelation, everybody. That's what is even new for me, is that being curious about it, asking it, doing that, and then to discover, oh, it's not about what I thought. There's a lot of freedom in that. Or I hear the spaciousness. It's like, oh, I'm making up a bunch of stuff here and I'm believing it without even checking it out.
Exactly. There's the conspiracy theory. Really. We live in a world that has all these conspiracy theories. We live in a world that has all these conspiracy theories. Yeah. And that's why when I start to say the story I'm telling myself, it starts to unravel. It's kind of like, God, what's her name? You talked about her before. Is that true? Is that really? Yeah, it's kind of like Byron Katie's work, but it's even more deeply, because you get to look at the other person that you've had this experience with. Was it true for them? Yeah. And look what they went. And so that's the tagline. They're doing the best they can. Do you really believe they are? And you start to heal those relationships. Yeah. Because that's the only way we can reach oneness. Yeah, for sure. So I want to go back again, just so we're really clear, because we started talking about really the intersection between psychology and spirituality. So it's pretty elementary here, but I want you to really kind of explain, what is that common ground where they both bring us, and how are they different, and how do they complement each other? Tell us about that in your experience. Well, I feel like in psychology, they want the healing of individuals in themselves. Most people that go into psychology really go in to heal what's going on with them, right? Yeah. That's my experience anyway. So it's like, how that comes about is, that's why I've always felt like we needed both. Because in my experience, and I say it really honestly, you can't pray some things away. It's not about prayer that way. And I think one of the holiest prayers is, please help me. Yeah. And I think that's like the first step in AA, right? Life has become unmanageable. Yep. I've come to believe there's a power greater than me. And so the holiest of holy prayers for me is, I need some help. And so I don't think that you can have one without the other, or else you have a tendency to spiritually bypass. We all want to be further along than we are. Yes. And so we really have to be honest where we are. Yeah. And I think it was Ken Wilber that said, if you look at where you think you are, take a step back, because that's usually basically where you are. Yeah. We all want to be in the absolute. And if we're in the absolute, what's the purpose of the incarnation? Yeah. Yeah. I told you this story before, but I'm remembering it because it's profound. When I was up in Chicago at the center I founded, the Bodhi Spiritual Center, I got a letter from a therapist, and she was kind, but she was upset because she said that she worked with people that went to my center, and they would get high on Sunday, and they learn all the language,
and they'd feel good, but then they would crash, and it seemed to have this opposite effect that made them feel like there was something wrong with them.
Right.
You know, like they
Yep.
were uniquely broken. And I'm sharing it now because I'll never forget that, because it, of course, wasn't my intention, but I do think I was, unbeknownst to myself, supporting that kind of believing.
Right. Right.
I don't know.
Well, and that's the part of the spiritual work where my experience is. I asked Renee one time. I said, "Well, what about religion?" And she said, "It's not the religion; it's the minister that's talking. If they haven't done their own shame work and their own, their own emotional work, it comes out. It can come out in shame. And it's not just religion that brings out the shame work. It's education. It's everything." The old phrase, "What did you do to create this?" That's shaming.
Yep.
And for me, it's like, that's why I don't like the word victim consciousness, because it's shaming. It's like, oh, I can't be a victim, but I can have this vibration, and I can say, this is the story I'm telling myself, and I can expand that consciousness and dig deep into the, I say juicy, but I also dig deep into the mud. And so I had that experience at Agape. I was going 3-4 times to get that high.
Yeah.
Because it felt so good.
Yeah.
But nobody told me how to keep it. Nobody told me how to do it myself. Nobody, so I would go back and get some more. And I would go back and I fed off of it. And I know that you know about addictions, and it's like, that's an addiction too. But we don't want to talk about it, And so for me, that's why I had to leave ministry when I did, because I had to go handle my earthly stuff, so to speak, And so that's why I think there's a blessing between the two. I think that there is an intersection between the two that can be helpful.
Yeah.
We
don't want to throw new thought under the bus.
No.
I've seen it more times than I care to count, where someone said to someone else, and I participated in my own days, but there's sort of this don't think that way. Don't feel that. Don't let yourself go there. But what I'm hearing from you is, let yourself go there so you can go through it and incorporate it and make it a holistic experience.
Right. I liken it to, there's a crack in the wall, and I can paper over it, and the wall looks beautiful, but the crack's still there.
Yeah.
So I need to do something with the crack. And so it's not, that's the blessing. That's why I say the informational part is that we learn all this. We learn these steps. We learn, we walk into a church and we're told we're loved. After years, we're told we're not. Yeah. And so, of course, we're going to go back there. Of course, we're going to. And yet that other vibration is underneath there. So how do we stay, and how do we believe, and how do we know that we're worthy of it all?
Yeah.
And so that's the work, and that's why I love the Rising Strong work with Renee, because it's just an automatic breakdown of how it happens, and why we keep going back to our love of church, and our love of new thought, and our love of that, because it reminds us truly of who we are.
Yeah. Yes.
But sometimes we slip down to a different vibration by some kind of trigger that happened. Yeah. And that's where somebody asked about the ego. That's where the ego goes, "Oh yeah, you want to bet? Here, how about this one?" And so it's like, okay, let me take you. What's that old song? I'll take you there. It's like, I want to be here. I want to be, let me take you here.
Yeah. I think I was very blessed. I know I was very blessed to have started 12-step very early on, and have gone through therapy through my life, for sure. And my experience, and this is what I look for, and I have felt in my own life, prayer has led me to the right therapist, or prayer has led me to a process, a breathwork experience, something like prayer. Answered prayer to me today isn't about finding the bridge to jump over something. It's finding the way to go through something, and supporting me in in having what I need to do that, the courage, the readiness, the coach, the whatever it is.
Right.
Because being an addict and spending much of my life numbing out and not feeling, which is really the goal of addiction.
Yeah.
Feeling alive is important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and it could be just as uncomfortable as being numb because we're not used to it. So, the prayer work lifts the vibration, for me, lifts my vibration up to call in my tribe, to call in a minister, to call in the right therapist, to call in the people that I can call and say, hey, this is the story I'm telling myself. And they can listen, they can hear wholeheartedly and not judge and not, so I think prayer is the holiest of holies in vibrational movement. And that's why I think it goes hand in hand. Because prayer is not saying, okay, you're done. You don't need to feel. Don't worry about that stuff. You're all done. I got you prayed up, But I love prayer. I think it was Ernest Holmes that says you have to include the feeling in it.
Yep.
And so where does the feeling come from? It comes from here. It comes from the top of your head to the bottom of your toes. And, that's what I love when you do your meditations, because you include all that.
Well, and even more and more, I've been wanting to add more movement even. Process or experience to move the body and incorporate it is important. Our hour's going so quickly. Anyone, if you have questions, please put them in the chat, or if you want to jump in to the conversation, please email Patrick at unitynaples.org, and he'll give you the link and you can join us. I see Victoria's up. So Victoria, I'm glad to post it to share in a moment. But before we do, I do want to ask you, we do have new people. I'm experiencing, I'm pretty new to Unity Naples down here, and we got new people coming into the New Thought teaching. And I would ask you to say, what would you say to people when they're beginning to learn the New Thought ideas, which are very enlivening and special in the beginning? What I don't mean by warning, but what would you tell them in terms of the beginning of their journey and what to look for, maybe?
Number one, you're okay. That's the first part. You are okay. Maybe it's not about you are loved. Maybe it's not, but or all the other words that we use. But number one is you are okay wherever you are. Start from there. And then give yourself permission to be curious. I think curiosity is the doorway in to New Thought. Because sometimes it's like, what? Especially if we're raised in Catholicism or, any other religion that tells us that God is outside. And now you're telling me that, I am the spirit of the living God. I'm not buying that. Okay. Be willing to hear it. And then be willing to be willing. And then if that doesn't work, be willing to be willing to be willing. And so that just opens the door for the curiosity. I think I told you before, there's a picture of Jesus that, he's standing at the door knocking. It says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. And we talk about Christ consciousness. If you look at those pictures, there's no doorknob. It has to be open from the inward. You have to welcome that Christ consciousness in. So I've always loved that, I'm standing at the door, and so I think it takes willingness and giving yourself permission to be where you are. Start where you are.
Yes.
I think it's very, and don't compare. That's comparison is the thief of joy. Period.
Good sentence.
Period. Yeah. Because I know I can find people that I can compare myself to, and I can immediately feel the vibration of that. Yeah. And I can find people that aren't, so that's why it's like comparison is the thief of joy.
I love that. And it's so, when you show up or you're feeling crappy inside, and that's just what's occurring, and you're looking outside and everyone's clapping and jumping and applauding. doing their thing, you really can do a number on yourself that there's
Yep.
something wrong with
What's wrong with me? Right.
Yeah.
Why aren't I getting it?
right.
You are. It's sinking in somewhere. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
I love our conversations. I could go on and on.
Bring Victoria up. Victoria, I'm going to add you in. I hope you're still here and see if there's anything you'd like to share or say. Are you there, Victoria?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi. Well, I'm so excited about this conversation because Reverend Shari and I have had some discussions about these ideas. And this is the first time that it's really kind of gelled and come to life for me in such a powerful way. And one thing that I notice is that, when I came into Science of Mind, there were all these gaps, and we're just told to pray them away. Right? And the gaps are absolutely necessary for us to fill in.
Yes.
Yes. And that is something that I am working through in different areas. But this is essential. This is just an essential intervention to have happen, especially right now.
Yes.
Right now,
Yes.
it's absolutely essential. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love working with you, Victoria.
Thank you, Victoria. Appreciate you a lot on that. All right. Anyone else want to jump in? We've got a few minutes to do that. Would love to hear from you. Amy says, once you have accepted to experience an emotion, how do you not get stuck in it?
Because you become the observer of that emotion. So it doesn't mean it won't come back around, but it won't come back around to the full force that it owns you with before. You become the person that goes, oh, I recognize that, so it doesn't have the energy.
Well, this
that
is
it used to have.
what I'm hearing you say is it's not a one-time deal.
No, it's never linear, right? We always go through different stages of spiritual growth, and this is the same thing. But the key for me is that I really get into the story I'm telling myself. And so that emotion, I have a certain vibration that comes up when a certain situation happens to me. And it's just been recently that I've gone, oh, that's what that is. And as soon as I said that, it dissipated. It just dissolves. It goes back in, we say it goes back into the nothingness for where it came, right? But it really does, because you've noticed it.
Yeah.
It just wants attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're like little kids. We just want attention.
Yeah. It's the courage to just be with it and breathe into it.
Courage. Yeah.
A couple days ago, I woke up was it a rough, cranky morning? And I think we all deserve lots of grace around this time of year, but we deserve grace all the time around that. And Patrick was home and the dogs are home, and I was just like, I'm going for a drive. And I just got in my car and I drove and I pulled over at a certain point and I just yelled and I let energy out and tears flowed. And I've become comfortable with creating space for that. And I don't even need to name it. There's no reason why. It's just here. And it's here. I could tend to make up why, but the reality is I just had to feel it and welcome it and process.
Exactly.
And I felt much more in my body after it. That was the miracle. The miracle was I was like, oh my gosh, I'm here.
And I get so excited when I hear people talking about that. I just go, yay. I've worked with students and clients and stuff, and they're saying, they're giving this, kind of story, and and I'm going, I'm so excited. You're starting to feel it. It's so exciting. I'm just so excited about that kind of work because it's real. They're transforming right before our very eyes. It's like you transformed right before your own eyes, just getting in the car and screaming and crying. It's like, it's transformational. Yeah. Because you've moved it through your body.
Exactly. Yeah. And it took me years to appreciate that, but I really do. I feel safe to do that. And I know I'm not going to die. Like there is, you got to go, okay, I didn't die from having a feeling. You know?
Exactly. I'm not going to die having this feeling. Right, right.
But it's
But the
scary.
mind will tell you all this other stuff about the
Oh,
feeling that you want to,
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Kate Miller says the hungry goat likes attention. That's amazing. And then Shante says, as I was seeking spirituality after my dad's suicide, and Unity in Naples was the first church I found comfort in the beginning of my relationship with God 24 years ago. Oh, nice. So
Beautiful.
For sharing
Beautiful.
that. Yeah, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
We are coming to the end of our journey so fast. I don't understand.
It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful.
But I do want to say to everybody before we pray and appreciate Reverend Shari, to please remember to make a contribution if that is on your heart today, to give a gift to Unity Naples. Your contribution helps us to do what we do and to keep expanding in our offerings, just like tonight. Of course, we understand that in this pandemic, everyone is in a different experience. So if you're in a place where it's not about your giving, love yourself there. Make that completely wonderful, and let tonight be your evening to receive, or extend to us love from your heart, because that is such a wonderful gift. So thank you. Our staff, our team is putting the link in the feed if you'd like to give directly through our website. And also, if you could please put up the text, there it is, the text to give. Those of you who use that, 239-230-4704, write the word give if you're new to the process and send that, and you'll go through a process. If you're not new, put the number in and put the amount, and it goes through easily. Shari, we think we barely scraped the surface, but I trust that it was awesome, and I really hope that you'll come back and
yes, I say yes to it. Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
I love it. Yeah.
I think you have such an energy of welcome and inclusion, and like you said, you're okay. So whoever's listening, you're so okay. Your feelings are beautiful, and it's just good. So lots of gratitude in the news feed. Thank you.
That's great.
By the way, everyone, if you want to learn more about Shari, if you're interested in working with her or discovering her work, please go to sharisorbo.com, sharisorbo.com. It's going across the bottom feed. Go there. You can learn more about her and find out how you can stay in touch with her, because she really has been called for this time to bring together the best of Brené Brown, the best of psychology, and all of the spiritual work that she has spent so many years learning and embodying and saying yes to, and bringing these two together in that inner section where wholeness is revealed in a deep way. I hope I said that well.
That's great. Yes. I don't have an email on my website right now, so if you need to get in touch with me, you can always get in touch with Mark. Mark knows how to get in touch with me.
Well, you gave us the email, though. I think, Patrick, can you run the email for her? What was the email? Can you say that, Shari?
N as in Nancy, O, B as in boy, R, O, S as in Shari, @earthlink.net.
Okay. And say that one more time. N, spell it
O, N, O, B, R, O, S.
Okay.
@earthlink.net. There it is.
There it is. Perfect. No gross. No gross at earthlink.net. So, and please, especially our wonderful Unity Naples family, just even send her a thank you. Just take a moment and her, because she really, and by the way, this is her gift to us tonight. So it
was fun. I loved it. I loved it.
Thank you for that. So I'm going to do a closing prayer for all of us. Join me if possible. All the gratitude, feeling holistic, feeling okay right where we are, honoring all that is right now, because it is all God, and because it is named all good, it is all welcome. So I declare for myself and everyone here, freedom from judging our feelings, freedom from fearing our feelings, freedom from pushing them away, freedom from naming them before we've even allowed them to be felt, freedom from all of this so that we may have a deeper experience of self and a deeper experience of our feelings and how they serve us in our spiritual awakening and in our connection with God and in our feeling whole within ourselves. I'm so grateful for this message that Shari has brought us today. I'm so grateful for the ways that I know it will continue to inform us and forever alter our path, even one little centimeter changing in our thoughts and our understanding can change the entire course of our journey. And I'm so grateful for this. So we are blessed. We are guided. Once again, we extend all of this love out to all of humanity. Mother Earth, we ask for your forgiveness, and when we give you all of our love for the greatest healing possible. Mother Earth, feel your feelings, get them out of the way, and know that we love you. And to all of humanity, God is. God is. And may we all find productive, creative, wonderful ways to have our feelings so we no longer use them as weapons. We no longer use them against each other, but we witness each other and we experience the awe of their beauty, their fullness, and their expression. Grateful for this and so much more. We are blessed. It is good, and so it is. Amen.
So it is. Amen.
Peace and
Thank
love, Reverend Shari. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you for coming. Peace and love.